Hello, people. Welcome to another Walking Dead live stream. And in today's live stream, I'm going to be just talking with you guys about San Diego Comic-Con and some news regarding Rick Grimes and the potential for a Rick Grimes announcement at Comic-Con, which, in my opinion, is seeming more and more likely as we get closer to that date. Personally, I think that there's always that chance, there's always that potential for Rick Grimes news. So, especially with some of the tweets from Andy Lincoln News on Twitter earlier this year. And, since there was nothing about Rick in Dead City, I think, it's seeming more likely that there will be a Rick Grimes spinoff announcement. If not this year, then definitely, next year for sure. But still possible for this year. So we can't, count that out completely and entirely just yet. We need to wait and see what happens at San Diego Comic-Con this year. Coming up here soon this month. I'm going to give it a second and see if we can get some people to join up in here and talk, hang out for a little bit. Not sure how long I'm going to be live in this one, guys. Just have to wait and see how the vibes are and see how everything is going, man. We will see here in a sec. If you're watching this as a VOD, I hope that you guys are all having a great day. Hope you guys are doing awesome. If you want to, turn those notifications on so you'll be notified whenever I do go live, that would be great. Because then you guys can have a chance to come in here and hang out with me live. So that would be awesome. One viewer, whoever you are, hope you're having a great day. Hope you're staying safe out there in the crazy world. I'm going to give it a little bit of time, see if we can get some people to pop up in here. Like I said, not sure exactly how long I'm going to be live today. We'll wait and see. We'll see how the vibes are. We'll see how many people we can get in here to come join and hang out. If we get a decent amount of people, I'll probably hang out for a while. But it just depends on how the stream does and how the vibes are, man. For those of you who are watching this as a VOD, though, if you guys didn't see my latest video, there was a tweet made earlier this year about Rick Grimes, being in another Walking Dead spinoff. And a lot of people were thinking that means Dead City, there's going to be a post-credit scene, all this other stuff. I was never too big on that. I didn't really think it makes any sense for Rick Grimes to be in Dead City, in a post-credit or anything like that. I was thinking maybe, but I wasn't really too much of a believer in that. But now it's seeming more and more likely that we'll have a Rick Grimes announcement at San Diego Comic-Con. You guys know with The Ones Who Live, they just popped up out of nowhere. There were no planned announcements or anything like that. And then next thing you know, boom, Andrew Lincoln's on stage with Denai Guerrera, and we have an announcement for a new spinoff. So that's kind of the way it works with the current state of The Walking Dead. Obviously everything's a surprise. And if they have been working on something and they've been keeping it under wraps, it will be announced definitely at San Diego Comic-Con. That's the time where they announce stuff. That's just when it makes sense. That's the big stage, right, for all things The Walking Dead, all plans, all announcements, everything like that. So, I don't know. I'm a believer. I think there's actually a pretty decent chance that we could see some Rick Grimes news announced at San Diego Comic-Con, man. I really do. It makes sense. It's just because Andrew Lincoln News, the Twitter page, if you guys are unfamiliar with that, Andrew Lincoln News is extremely reliable, and they only tweet when they have permission. So they wouldn't tweet that Rick Grimes could appear in another Walking Dead spinoff if there wasn't something in development or something greenlit or something, right? There has to be something going on with Rick, and obviously San Diego Comic-Con is the time to announce it. So it just makes sense that we'll have some sort of Rick Grimes announcement at SDCC. It just makes complete sense. So get ready for some bombshells, guys. It's going to be a fun San Diego Comic-Con 2025, I think, man. I'm really hoping and praying we get some really exciting Rick Grimes news, man, because personally, I think the Walking Dead universe needs it more than ever. I think the Walking Dead universe needs Rick Grimes now more than ever, man. I think it's about time that we get an announcement. I think it's about time that we have some news. It just makes sense. It really does. It makes a ton of sense. And I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Imagine that, though, guys. Imagine if they drop a teaser or something, like a little 20-second teaser trailer. Or have him come out on stage. Holy. That would be insane, right? But the time is now. You know, you got to strike while the iron's hot. You know, it's been over a year now since The Ones Who Live concluded. I think it's time. It's time to have a new announcement for next year, you know? Maybe not, obviously, it probably won't come out this year. That would be really shocking if it did come out this year. I don't think it will. But, you know, hey, maybe like next February or, you know, maybe next fall, maybe, you know? Fall 2026. Yo, Alexandre, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good one. I was just chilling out, talking some Walking Dead news with you guys. It's you know, it's almost SDCC. It's an exciting time to be a fan for The Walking Dead, honestly. So this is where we get to know a lot of information, right? Like it kind of all builds up to San Diego Comic-Con, right? Where we get a general idea about what's going on with the universe. We get to, you know, learn about things. We get announcements, some little teasers, stuff like that. It's always a great time. It's always a great time at SDCC, man. If you guys are new to the channel, if you guys want to drop a like and subscribe, it really helps me grow. And yeah, I go live not exactly every single day, but I go live a decent amount, so it's really fun to get in here and talk with you guys. So if you guys enjoy this format, if you enjoy The Walking Dead and live streams and, you know, stuff like this and cool shorts and everything too, I do it all, man. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. You like Daryl in France? Yeah, I would say I liked it, yeah. I didn't, like, absolutely love it, but it was really good. I think, bro. I liked it. It was fun. It felt like The Walking Dead still, you know what I mean? To me, that's important. I think it's good to have that. I think it's good to have, you know, that vibe of The Walking Dead still, you know what I mean? And we had that, I think, with Daryl Dixon. In my opinion, anyway. I wasn't a big fan of Dead City, but Daryl Dixon in France was cool, man. Also, guys, if you could like the stream, it really helps more people see it. So it helps a lot more than you think. So if you guys could just take 5 seconds or 2 seconds, however long it takes you guys to find your way to that like button and drop a like on the live stream, it really helps the channel grow. It really helps the stream get seen, you know, by more people. So if you guys could just take a couple seconds and drop a like on the stream, that would mean the world to me. Obviously, nothing's fully announced yet, you know, in regards to Rick Grimes. You know, of course, they're going to keep it under wraps and keep it private, just like they did with The Ones Who Live till they were ready to announce it at San Diego Comic-Con. You know, and if history is, you know, the telltale sign here, I mean, guys, you know, it's going to be a big weekend. You know, San Diego Comic-Con is going to be a big weekend. I think The Walking Dead's panel is on Friday, I believe. I can't remember what the exact date is. I think it's on a Friday, though. Hall H, I believe, right? Or, yeah, I think so. It's going to be exciting. 14 people in here now. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I go live all the time. I try to go live at least, you know, multiple times per week. And it's really fun to just come in here and chill out with you guys. So everybody who's new, welcome in. Welcome to the channel, guys. The coolest Walking Dead YouTuber you ever heard of right here. Yo, what's up, bro? Jax Teller, greater than Rick. You really think so, huh? Daryl was really mean to Leah the last few seasons. I mean, Leah was a weird character, you know? Leah was a strange one. That was an interesting dynamic, for sure. It was kind of crazy how he ended up killing her, right? I mean, that was a pretty crazy storyline, to be honest. The Daryl and Leah story wasn't even that bad. I kind of liked that episode, bro. That one, which one was it? It was the season 10 bonus episodes, right? Season 10 bonus episodes. It was like season 10, what was it, episode 18? What was it called? Find Me or something like that? That was actually a good episode, low key. I messed with it. I liked it. I liked the vibe. Have you seen Sons of Anarchy? Not all the way. I've not seen Sons of Anarchy all the way, but I definitely am always interested in watching new stuff, man. So if you guys ever have any recommendations or suggestions on shows, let me know, man. Always drop them in the comment box, and I will always give it a try. If you guys are in here saying something's great, I'm always down to see some greatness. So you guys just let me know. I've heard Sons of Anarchy is a great show, though, but I've never watched it all the way through. I think I watched like one episode when I was younger. It's not that I thought it was bad. I just, I have a hard time getting into TV shows sometimes, to be honest. Honestly, there was this TV show called The 100, which I thought was pretty awesome when I was younger. But I don't know, man. As that show started to get into the later seasons, it really fell off for me personally. I kind of stopped liking it, and then I was just like, ah, man, this is probably how people feel about The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? That was just a interesting thing. I kind of realized, like, oh, this is probably how people feel about The Walking Dead. Negan, for you, is he really a villain or just a man broken by the loss of Lucille? I mean, he's definitely a villain for sure, because you can't do the stuff he was doing and not be called a villain, right? Like you're definitely a villain for sure. But I think he became a villain because of the loss of Lucille, you know, and because of the world, right, that he lived in. So I considered him a villain. I don't think he's a villain anymore. I think he was. I think he changed. And I think he was a good guy, but the world kind of changed him, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. We see that dynamic a lot in this world, right? Where the world goes to hell, and then people end up changing and becoming not so great, right? So I think that's what happened with Negan. But I do think he was a broken man, you know, but he became a villain because of, you know, Lucille dying and the world just kind of going to hell, and he's just like, man, screw it, you know. I'm just going to do what I have to do to live a great life, you know. And he could have done it a way different way, because if you look at, you know, for example, like what Alexandria had going for it, you know, in season 6 with you know, Rick in charge and everything like that, right? Alexandria was thriving. It was a great community. You don't have to be, you know, a power hungry, kind of like a dictator, crazy, you know, person like Negan was trying to be, to have a, you know, a successful community, right? Like Negan definitely went about things wrong. Um, and he definitely, you know, the whole like power trip, you know, trying to control people, all that stuff. Not the way to do it, right? Not the way to do it. So I would say Negan was a villain for sure, but I think he changed, had a hard change. The worst season of The Walking Dead for me, man, you know, so this is actually a great question, because personally, for me, the worst season, man, what would it be? I always thought like the worst season was probably season 7, I would have to say. You know, it's funny, me and my girl are in the middle of rewatching The Walking Dead. She's never seen it, but I have, obviously. I've seen it a billion times, but we're in the middle of watching it right now, and we're on season 8. And I have to honestly say, I think season 8 is, you know, it got way too much hate, personally. I think season 8 got way too much hate. Season 7, upon rewatching, season 7 was actually worse than I remembered. And I've rewatched it a couple times, and there were times where I thought season 7 wasn't that bad. But on this rewatch with my girl, I can honestly say season 7, I get why people didn't like it. It was really slow. Season 7 was a really slow burn season. It was really not that great. Season 7 was a slow season for sure. I wasn't a big fan. And you know, in the middle of this rewatch, I was like, man, I kind of get why the viewership fell off during this season. You know what I mean? It was not that great. It really wasn't. Very much a slow burn. So yeah, wasn't that big into season 7 of The Walking Dead. I'd probably have to say season 7. Season 1 was really good. 2 was great. 3 I think was solid. It was good. 4 was good. 5 was great. 6 was great. 7 fell off. I think 8 was better than 7. I think 9 was better than 8 and 7. I think 10 kind of fell off a little bit. I think season 10 kind of fell off a little bit at times. The second half was good, though, for season 10. The bonus episodes were kind of a joke to me. Season 11, I actually think gets a little bit too much hate, to be honest. I think season 11 is actually a solid season. I think it's better than 10. I think it's better than 8 and 7. But I don't think it's probably better than any of the other ones. But I think all the other ones were great, though. I think they were like peak TV. You know, seasons 1 through 6 were fantastic. But I think season 11 gets a little too much hate. I actually found the Commonwealth storyline very interesting. And I liked Negan a lot in season 11. I liked Maggie in season 11. I thought she was pretty cool. The Reaper storyline, wasn't a big fan, really, but it wasn't horrifyingly terrible. Wasn't a huge fan, though, personally. But it was all right. It was decent. Not, like, terrible. People act like season 11 is just god-awful. I'm like, it's not terrible to me. I think season 7's worse for sure. I know, it's so weird because, like, if I agree with you, like, season 7 was great at first. It was so great that first episode of season 7, it seemed like it was going to be the greatest season of all time. I mean, it started off like it was going to be this grade A season, right? Like, it seemed like it was going to be this masterpiece of a season. And then it's like Ezekiel and the Kingdom came along, and we started, like, diving deeper into the Savior lore, and it just got very stretched out. We saw a lot of stuff we really didn't need to see, and a lot of that stuff was not that interesting, really, right? I think that's the problem with season 7, is they kind of just put everything, they put it all in and stretched it way out, They stretched it way out. Season 7 was way too stretched out. Yo, what's up? What's up, Gavin? No, you're not late. You're about 17 minutes late, but not too late at all. I'm going to be live for a minute here probably, so I'll probably be live for at least 45 to an hour. So yeah, no, you're not too late at all, bro. We're just chilling out, talking about Walking Dead original series. Gonna go over some stuff about San Diego Comic-Con and Rick Grimes and everything, so we're just chilling out, bro. But back to what I was saying, season 7, I just finished it with my girl. Season 7, I can definitely see why people didn't really like it that much, for sure. It's too stretched out. It's a slow burn. And they just showed, like, they could have made all that. Season 7 essentially could have been half a season. Like, they could have fit all that. And honestly, season 7 and season 8 could have all been fit into one season, for sure, easily. I think that's why people didn't like it. It was a little too stretched out. Even season 8 with the fighting scenes and some of the war scenes and stuff, it's just a bit stretched out, bro. Season 8 actually is a lot better than 7 to me. I think season 8 gets too much hate for sure. 7 was kind of bad, man. The second half of 7 was a lot better to me than the first half. But man, like, there's some decent episodes, like the Sing Me a Song with Carl and Negan was cool. That was fun. But yeah, season 8, the second half of season 8 was really fun to me. I loved Carl's last episode. I thought was really beautiful. I think episode 10 with, like, Simon going to the scavengers, the junk people. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was fun. I really liked the Savior conflict with Dwight, showing back up and stuff, and all that. Who's the girl that Negan picked up in the car? It was Laura, right? The Savior Laura that, Dwight turned on, and she saw Dwight turn on all the men and stuff. That was really awesome. Also, episode 11 was bad, though. Season 8, episode 11 was a really bad episode. 12 was great. Rick and Negan fighting and stuff with Lucille on fire. That was sick. 13, pretty cool. The hilltop fight against the Saviors. They thought Negan was dead. Simon led him to the hilltop. All that stuff. That was a really fun episode. Um, 14, still gotta mean something is what that episode's titled. I'm pretty sure. Where Rick kind of turned on those saviors. He gave him his word and he, used his hatchet and axed him to the neck when they weren't looking. That was a pretty awesome episode. 15 was the Simon and Negan fight and stuff like that. And Michonne read Carl's letter to Negan. That was a good season 8, bro. Season 8 second half is gas. It low key is. It's really good. And the finale was a little underwhelming. The finale was underwhelming for 8, but it was still not terrible. The whole guns blowing up thing was really exciting to see. It was a good finale, right? I think it was. The whole my mercy prevails over my wrath with Rick and everything, cleaning up, setting up the new beginning, all that. It was exciting, and season 9 was really refreshing at that time. After we had those 2 seasons of stretched out savior storyline, and we got the season 9 kind of, everyone trying to work together and get past the whole savior thing. That was really refreshing. Season 9 really was great for The Walking Dead. It was great. We agree that Carl shouldn't have died. I never liked Carl that much, and I was never a big fan, so I wasn't really mad at it. It was all right. Yeah, 8 was I consider 8 a good season, but I think it gets too much hate. But I can see why people think it's just all right. But I think if you went back and rewatched like 7 and 8 back to back, you'd realize, wow, 8's way better than 7. In reality, the moment Andrew Lincoln left the show was the death of something. Yeah, I mean, the show was never the same, right? When you take a character like Rick Grimes, I think the show did a great job, though. I think the show recovered really well for losing that big of that big of a character, that important of a character. Rick Grimes was pretty much the life of the show. And when he left, a lot of people were thinking that the show and the whole universe would be chalked. And I mean, yeah, the show recovered pretty well without Rick, honestly. Season 9 was really good. 10 was a little bit slow. I think 11 was underrated too. I think season 11 gets way too much hate. It's actually a pretty good season. They actually brought good characters in season 11. They introduced solid characters. Just imagine Shane in season 8. Yeah, that would have been sick, man. They really fumbled killing Shane off too early, huh? They should have kept Shane alive and then had him come back. I think it would have been sick if Shane like joined the Saviors or something, right? And they ended up like switching sides, kind of playing a Dwight role. Imagine if Dwight was like Shane, right? And instead of Daryl and Dwight having a conflict, it was kind of like Shane and Rick having a conflict again. I think that could have been pretty sick, but I mean, we kind of would have been like, we've already seen this before. But imagine if they didn't go that route. Imagine if they didn't go the route where Shane and Rick had that fight, right? Imagine if Shane ended up actually changing, right? And then boom, like Lori still died, and then that actually Lori dying fixed Rick and Shane's relationship because now they weren't fighting over a girl, and they just kind of said, hey, we're gonna become close, like we're gonna be brothers again, and then boom, Shane ended up leaving or something, or joining the Saviors somehow. I mean, you could write it whichever way you want. It'd be interesting. Rick Grimes was literally The Walking Dead. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think obviously all the characters of the Walking Dead universe helped in making the show such a success. But Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, especially right now with the current state of the Walking Dead, for sure, it's never been as important as it is now to have Rick Grimes alive and in the universe, for sure. Bro was the face of the Walking Dead. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, he still is. I mean, look at, even like my YouTube videos, my Rick Grimes videos get so many views, man. People want to know what's going on with Rick even now. We just saw him last year, but people want more. We want to know what's next with this character. He's a great character. He's got crazy aura, bro. Your favorite scene or sequence in the series? Oh, man, that's way too hard of a question to just put one sequence. Man, I would say... I was saying, man, favorite sequence or scene? Jeez, dude, I don't even know. Probably the No Way Out scene where Rick goes out into the season 6, episode 9 after Carl gets shot, and Rick just goes crazy and starts going nuts with the hatchet, killing all the walkers. That was insane. Daryl with the RPGs. That whole sequence was awesome. Thinking Glenn was going to die again, Abraham and Sasha popping up over the fence, you know. That was sick. Season 6, episode 9 is a great one. You also have I think Rick killing Gareth was really sick, right? He's like, besides, I already made you a promise. You know what I mean? And pulls out the machete and just starts going crazy. That was sick. That's always one of my favorite ones. He's just aura farming at that point. His aura is maxed out. It really is, bro. Rick's aura is unmatched. It's insane. He's got maxed out aura. 99% aura, 100% aura, bro. But favorite sequence, man, I don't know. I really enjoyed Rick's last episode a lot too. I think Rick's last episode is like an all-time great one. Seeing Shane again in the car with Rick, that was awesome. You know, there's so many great sequences and scenes in The Walking Dead, man. That's what I when you asked me that question, bro, I can't even tell you. I couldn't even sit here and pinpoint one scene or sequence. There's so many. I know it's you know what's sad, bro? Like the governor joining Rick, like it's sad when you see these characters that have this potential, right? Like the governor, if he was good, he had so much potential. You know, he had so much potential. If you imagine if the governor would have joined the prison, I think that would have been awesome. I know they followed the comics, like you know, but imagine if there was like an alternate Walking Dead universe, right? Like maybe like an animated series or something where they changed it up a lot. That would be sick. Imagine that, like Rick and the governor side by side, like just messing stuff up, man. I don't understand people who are disgusted with Glenn. The show just followed the comics. I think a lot of the people that were upset that Glenn died, you have to realize, majority of the people who watched The Walking Dead never read the comics, right? Up until that point, I hadn't read the comics either. So majority of the Walking Dead's fan base at that point were casual TV viewers. They liked the show, but they were probably just like casual viewers that fell in love with Glenn, you know, that fell in love with these characters, right? So when they die off, they're like disgusted and pissed off and don't understand, right? So I think for hardcores like us, you know, people who actually, you know, paid attention to the comics, had knowledge about the comics, understood the comics. You know, I think, yeah, for us, we kind of look at it and say, hey, they were just following the storyline, right? But for, you know, casual TV viewers, I can understand why they would get disgusted, right? It's kind of like The Last of Us, right? If you take The Last of Us, you know, take the people who never played the game, and then, you know, they kill off Joel, and then boom, you know, everyone's pissed. And I understand, because truthfully, The Last of Us sucks without Joel. It does. It's not good. Last of Us Season 2 was pretty bad without Joel. Ever since Joel died, it got rough. It was hard watch. It was. Ellie's not watchable, man, by herself. She's just not. She cannot carry. She cannot carry a show. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the same concept, right? You take, you know, they're just following the story, but for people who don't know that, who didn't know that was going to happen, it was still hard. It still sucked. You know what I mean? The prison arc in The Walking Dead is unmatched. I mean, is it? I don't know. I think the Alexandria arc. I think the Alexandria arc is great too. The prison arc is good. I think the prison arc is really good. It's really good. So is Alexandria. The Whisperers, dude. I think the Whisperers storyline is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Alpha and Beta were sick, especially Beta. Just a big, freaky, scary guy. We need to see Rick discover the Primrose and Violet team. Yeah, we need to see Rick Grimes do a lot. There's still a lot of things that Rick Grimes could do. A lot of potential with the character still. You know, we have to wait and see what happens. But I made a video earlier today, guys. Make sure you check it out if you haven't seen it. It just came out a couple hours ago, but we can talk about that a little bit right now. I wanted to share that news with you guys. So, if you guys didn't know, um, there's a Twitter page called Andrew Lincoln News. and they're always like really accurate with any news about Andrew Lincoln. And they said earlier this year that Rick Grimes could appear in another Walking Dead spinoff, but the thing about that is everyone was thinking it was going to be Dead City, right? Oh, we're going to have Dead City Rick Grimes post credit scene or something, and that did not happen. So that makes me think that we're going to get a announcement at Comic-Con about Rick Grimes. We'll see. I could be wrong. It could be next year, but I think now is the time. The Walking Dead universe needs a boost. I think yeah, now is the time. If hold on, yo, dude, if a Walking Dead apocalypse ever happened in real life, what character do you think you would be? Probably Daryl. I've always connected with Daryl, to be honest. I like bows too. Like I have a crossbow. I always was into archery growing up. Before I even watched The Walking Dead, I had a bow. Um, and I don't mind being outdoors. You know, I'm more of an inside person now, but like in that situation, I could adapt again. You know, when I was growing up, I was always outside all the time. So probably Daryl. I would be the governor or Morgan. I have the Rick Grimes murder jacket. Hey, you're ready to go, bro. You just need a hatchet. All you need is a hatchet. And if the apocalypse ever happens, everyone's cooked. Lori is a hated character, even though she's the woman of Rick's life. If we love Rick, we like to see him happy, so we like to see him happy with Lori. When she dies, Rick could have been broken. Well, I think the reason why everyone hates Lori is because she just wasn't a great mom. You know, she was always losing Carl. She was always, you know, where's Carl? Where's Carl? You know, she was always running off without Carl, you know, without letting Carl know what she was doing. Like, she just wasn't really a good mom. And then on top of that, you know, really truthfully, she wasn't a good wife. And there's a lot of debate about, you know, whether Lori and Shane hooked up, you know, before the apocalypse. And, you know, people were saying that there had to have been some sort of like romantic tension or sexual tension there or something weird, you know, because of the way that happened, right? So obviously that's not confirmed. But I don't know. I think upon my rewatches, I think Lori's a pretty crap character, to be honest. I think she's a crap character. I didn't like her. And I think, like, as fans, like, yeah, that's the girl that Rick was married to, but Rick started to really dislike her towards the end of Lori's life, right? In season 3 and stuff. Rick was not a fan. And I think, obviously, seeing Rick with Michonne, like, Michonne's a way better human being than Lori, right? She's a way better mom, she's a way better wife, and she's a way better person. So it's like, we know what Rick deserves. Like, Rick deserved a great girl, a great woman. And Lori just simply was not that. It's just the truth. Lori played with Shane's emotions, bro. Lori Lori told Shane all kinds of stuff that made Shane feel like she was still attached to him. Even in season 2, after Rick came back, bro. After Rick came back in season 2, when Lori's, you know, supposed to be cutting ties completely and moving on from that whole Shane situation, you know, she went up and you know, when Shane was fixing the what was it, the windmill thing or whatever it was, he was doing some work out there, whatever, and she, you know, was talking to him saying like, "Oh, I know this is gonna be so hard for you," blah blah blah. Like she should have just simply cut ties. Like this is the same guy that practically, essentially, you know, SA'd her, you know, the R word. I don't know if I can say that. I don't want to get demonetized, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I remember when they were at the CDC and he got a little bit tipsy and he went in the room and was still trying to get on her and stuff, you know. Like Shane was always overstepping what he was supposed to do as a friend. You know, Shane was not supposed to look out for Lori and Carl like that or care that much. You know, yeah, sure, you can protect people, be a good human being, but he was trying to be like a father to Carl. You could see, you know, even when he was like, "Don't let me catch you talking like that again, Carl." You know, stuff like that. You know, he always tried to be, you know, Carl's father. You know, you can breathe, you can blink, you can. Where is Lori was still alive? What would her story be like? If Lori was still alive, what would her story be? I don't even know. I wonder if her and Rick would have broken up, like permanently. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what Lori's story would be. It's a good question. I feel like Negan Goat. Yeah, I mean Negan's a great character. Pretty much the only reason why I would ever watch Dead City, to be honest. Maggie, Maggie's kind of a weird character for me now. I'm not that huge of a fan anymore like I once was. I used to love Maggie. I think Maggie in season 11 of The Walking Dead is fire. And then Dead City, she's just eh. But Negan is a goat for sure, bro. 100%. Just a weird question, sorry. A bit of fun. Apparently, Andrew Lincoln has this English accent that comes out when he says Carl. It sounds like coral. It's real. Yeah, it's definitely real for sure. When he says Carl, it sounds like he's saying coral. It's more like Carl. That's it. You guys like that? Negan's such a goated character? Nah, for sure, bro. 100%. Negan is like, he carried hard, bro. Negan carried the show in season 10. Loki, with no Rick. Like, Negan going to the save, or going to the Whispers was sick. Killing Alpha, that stuff was it was awesome. He's a great character. Carried hard, bro. The Walking Dead needed that in season 10 and 9 too. I mean, Negan had cool stories in season 9 too. Going back to the sanctuary, that was cool. Going back to the same spot where he killed Glenn and Abraham, and you know, that was awesome. Negan's redemption arc has been sick, man. Yo, Sage, what's up, brother? Hope you've been doing good, man. Negan is the definition of a tragic villain. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Dead City also best series? You're the first person I've ever heard say that. And I can't stand I really don't like Dead City, I'm not gonna lie. But honestly, if you enjoy it, I'm glad you like it. But I can't get into it. I don't know. I don't like the characters. I don't like the environment really. I don't like the whole Marshall people, boring to me. Jenny, boring kid character. Yeah, I think Dead City is like, for me, The Walking Dead Dead City is the definition of just like a 5 out of 10 TV show. It's so mid to me. It's I don't think one time during Dead City my heart beat fast at all. You know what I mean? For me personally. But I mean, I always tell people, here's the thing. Anything regarding The Walking Dead, bro, if you like it, I'm glad you like it. You know what I mean? I just wish that I liked it more, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? I wish that I liked Dead City a lot, because it would be super exciting to be able to feel that level of anticipation and hype for that series. But for me, I just can't. I don't know. It's so mid. It just seems so mid to me. I just get so bored. Negan is the only reason why Dead City is even relevant to me. Like, if there was no Negan in Dead City, I wouldn't even think about watching it. The Marshall character guy, boring. The Croat, boring. The Dama girl, boring. It's just a whole bunch of boring. It's. I think they're bad characters. I think they're poorly written characters because there's no excitement to it. I think, yeah, because I'm a fan of Jeffrey D. Morgan. I mean, I am too. And that's the only reason why I would ever watch Dead City. I haven't even watched season 2 all the way, and I don't even know if I'm going to. But if I ever do get to watching Dead City season 2, I'm for sure going to watch for Negan, for sure. Dead City is so mid. The Ones Who Live and Daryl is way better. I agree. I agree, Gavin, bro. I agree for sure. I think Daryl Dixon still feels like The Walking Dead. I think that's what makes it so fun. Like it still feels like that. You know what I mean? It has that Walking Dead vibe to it, you know? You're not just, I don't know. Dead City just doesn't even feel like The Walking Dead to me. It just feels like some sort of weird post-apocalyptic drama spin. Like, I don't even know. It's just weird. Daryl Dixon actually feels like The Walking Dead in a different country, right? And that's what it is, but it still feels like the OG Walking Dead at times, you know? It's pretty awesome. Dead City was so pale. Yeah, Sage, I agree, bro. I wasn't into it. Season 2 was maybe a little bit better than Season 1, but I don't even know if that's even true. Do you think Daryl and Rick will ever have a reunion? For sure. They has to. 100%. I like all films of him. He's a good actor, bro. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's a great actor. What if we saw Rick and Mercer working together fighting walkers? It would be a great duo. In the comics, they got along great. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool. Rick and Mercer meeting would be pretty awesome. They'd be a good duo. They'd be cool to see together, working together. I would love to see it. Wait a minute. Zion, what are we waiting for, brother? I like The Walking Dead. That's great to hear, bro. It's great to hear. I like The Walking Dead too. Yo, mama. This guy. Haven't heard Yo Mama in forever. Dead City feels like a different show that's not connected. Bro, I know it does to me. It does. I feel like Dead City doesn't even feel like The Walking Dead, bro, I swear. It feels like something else. It just feels like a different show. Yo Mama in the Big 2025 is crazy. Man, whew. You're telling me. I haven't heard that in forever. Old boomer ad joke. It is, man. So that's a boomer joke now, man. How does Daryl understand the French in his show? I think Daryl's just like a very empathetic guy. You can kind of just like look in someone's eyes and kind of read them, you know? I'll have to rewatch it and see, because I don't really remember all the little tiny. I don't really remember all the tiny details about Daryl Dixon, to be honest. It's been a minute since I've like watched the show, to be honest. When is successful? What do you mean, Sage? What are we talking about? That's what I thought you meant. I believe it's July 24th through July 27th. I could be wrong, but I also could be right. You have to double check that, fact check that, but that's what I remember seeing somewhere when I looked it up. I believe it's 24th through the 27th. Which is coming up, man. It's exciting, actually. Because imagine if we get some Rick news, bro. You guys know there's actually a chance we could see some Rick Grimes news. I'm not even trying to clickbait you guys. I'm being for real. Like, there's actually a chance. Now I'm started to watch Supernatural. I think it's also a cool series to watch. Yeah, I've heard Supernatural's awesome. Isn't Jeffrey Dean Morgan in that too? I've heard Supernatural is a good show. I've never watched it, but I've heard it's good. The most wasted character for you, the ones who deserve better. Oof. I wouldn't say Carl, because I never liked Carl that much. But a character that I liked that just didn't develop the right way, that had so much more potential than he got. I'd say, I think Beth would have been a cool character. Like, imagine Beth in like season 9. After she gets older, she turns into more of a bad A, right? Imagine if Beth like turned into a bad A. I think she would have been cool to have on the show longer than she was. Like, I understand the young Beth that sings, you know, and That was an annoying phase, right? But I'm saying like it's something cool about seeing a character that's weak and small and frail, and then kind of just developing in that apocalyptic world into a bad A character, right? Like seeing Beth turn into a bad A would have been awesome, and we were kind of headed towards that direction. We kind of saw some bad A Beth at the hospital, like she was becoming more of a bad A. We never really saw her fully develop into that, but she would have been cool to see. Imagine Beth in season 9 after the Rick time, the 6 year time jump after Rick left. Imagine, seeing her kind of like Eugene, right? We saw Eugene, yeah, like Carol, exactly. Carol was the same way. Carol was a super weak character, and then she turned into this baddie. Imagine if Beth turned into, and maybe not as baddie as Carol, but imagine if Beth just learned how to use guns really well, learned how to throw knives, learned how to, shoot a bow and arrow, and just turned into kind of like a cool, bad A character, right? It would have been really cool to see Beth and Rosita interact, I think. I think that would have been awesome. I think that would have been sick. Yeah, Beth would have been a great death, Blake, for the Whisperers. Think about how sad that would have been. And imagine if Maggie never left the show, right? And then Maggie got captured by the Whisperers and then saw her sister's head on the spike. I think that would have been awesome. And imagine if instead of Carol letting Negan out, Maggie let Negan out to go kill Alpha, and then boom, Negan brings Alpha's head to Maggie, right? Tell me that would have been sick, huh? Put me in the writer's room, straight up. Put me in the writer's room. That would have been way better. Am I wrong or what? I feel like I'm totally right. That would have been so much cooler than what we got. But hey, what do I know? But there was something cool about Beth, man. Beth was annoying, but she like was getting better. She was getting better, and like we kind of started to see that, and then they just boom killed her off, right? I think it would have been sick. I think that would have been awesome. Imagine Beth getting killed by the Whisperers. Boom. Maggie realizes, hey, this guy can go in there and do this. Even though I don't like him, he's good at what he does. He's charismatic. He's got this. He can do this. She kind of gives Negan a chance to redeem himself. Boom, he does that to avenge Beth's death, kills Alpha for Maggie. Boom. Then at that point, we could have just avoided this entire Maggie and Negan saga, bro. All the stupid, stretched out drama of Maggie and Negan, right? Because I think it's annoying. I think everyone agrees the Maggie and Negan drama is annoying. It shouldn't have been stretched out this long into the spinoffs even. It's just boring. It's annoying. Maggie and Negan it's an annoying, stretched out thing. It's drawn out. We're over it, right? She needs to either forgive him and move the hell on, or not. I'm tired of it, right? And at that point, boom, it would have been sick to see Maggie forgive Negan for killing Glenn. And then boom, he avenged Beth's death. You know what I mean? That kind of would have helped redeem his character. And then boom, maybe she still wouldn't have been super close with him, but it would have been cool to have that moment. And then boom, they could have written in a moment where Negan saved Maggie's life too, right? Or proved that he was a completely changed man. I think it would have been sick to have Negan tell Maggie he's sorry, right? I think it would have been sick. After that scene, you could have had a moment between them where he told her, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. I was just doing what I felt like I needed to do to survive. That's not really who I am. And I have changed, and I'm sorry for what I took away from you and your son. I think that would have been an awesome moment. And then it would have been cool to have her forgive him and learn to move on. It's a brutal world that brought out the worst in everybody. And Negan's worst was just worse than the other people's that we know and love, right? But it doesn't mean he can't be redeemed, because obviously he has been. In the comics, there's Andrea, who's a great character. She even has a relationship with Rick. Yeah, I heard that. And it's funny. In the TV show, Andrea, the actress that plays Andrea, her name is Laurie Holden, and she actually said that initially they had planned for her to stay on The Walking Dead for like 8 seasons or 9 seasons or something. And then boom, she got a call in the middle of the night that they're killing her off in the finale of season 3. So she said that caught her off guard, and it was really like, it really like bothered her, Like imagine thinking you're going to be on a show for like, 8 years, 9 years, and then boom, get a call in the middle of the night. It's Scott Gimple, like, we're killing you off, and it wasn't Gimple, who was it? It was somebody else. I think it was Glenn Mazzara was the showrunner. I can't remember, but yeah, we're killing you off in the finale, So, interesting stuff, but there's a lot of characters. Back to that one comment, in terms of characters, I think kind of just didn't get used the right way. There was a lot of characters. I think Andrea had more potential, to be honest. She needed to go because of the way she was written, but I think Andrea could have been awesome. But the way they wrote her was bad. I don't think Laurie Holden was an annoying actress. I don't think that she was. I don't even think Andrea was like an annoying character on the screen. I think she was actually watchable and I enjoyed watching her. But it's just the way they wrote her character was annoying. They turned her into this like governor simp. She was simping so hard for the governor. Yeah, the governor must have been laying some crazy wood, bro. I can't even lie. He must have been hitting that shit right. For sure. Because she was in love. I think I still prefer Michonne and Rick, but kind of feels like Andrea got done dirty. Andrea in the comics was way better. That's what I always hear. Comic Andrea and TV Andrea are completely different. I've heard that a lot too. If Andrea acted like in the comics, live action, she would have been a good character. Yeah, I agree, 100%. I just think they wrote her so wrong, man. It would have been made so much sense for her to be with Rick. Even between the two actors, there's something you feel like they play well together. Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, like I'm just gonna be 100% real. This might be unpopular. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here, but there's still a part of me in my rewatch of the show. There's a part of me that like I don't really I don't really love Rick and Michonne being together. I know. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. It makes sense why they are, but I just don't know if I love it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of like I'm kind of like in the middle where I'm like, I like them, but I feel like it just doesn't match Rick, to me. Like it makes sense because of their dynamic, but it just felt kind of awkward to me. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on Rick and Michonne. They kind of seemed like just good friends, like acquaintances, and then boom, next thing you know, they're holding hands and making out. I Tara, good to see you. Rick and Michonne weren't believable. Yeah, I mean, there was just something on it. Upon rewatching it multiple times, it just didn't seem authentic or something. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a genuine connection. I don't know. I just wasn't a huge fan. Why is it because she's No. It's not because of that. I would say it just seems weird. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of characters that would feel weird if Rick was with him, right? Um, but honestly, I'm going to be real here. A character that I actually think was pretty cool was Jesse. You guys remember Jesse? I thought Jesse was a good character. I enjoyed her. Sucks she died. I think Jesse would have been cool, bro. I think Jesse would have been cool to have on the show all the way through. Like Jesse's one of those characters they should have kept all the way to like season 10, season 11. Like Jesse was sick, I think, low key. That's another one of those underrated characters. Back to that comment, whoever asked me that, what are some characters that you think, didn't get used properly or whatever, underrated, undervalued? Jesse, man. Jesse was actually easy to watch. Yeah, I know. Like, what if? Because Jessie was like adapting, like she was like turning into that character, kind of like when everybody was saying, "If you don't fight, you die," right? Like she was learning and becoming that. She would have become a bad A. I think it would have been awesome if all her kids died and then she stayed alive, right? Like Ron and Sam died, boom. And then next thing you know, her and Rick stay together, and then we have Judith, and Jesse kind of becomes this like bad A. I think that would have been sick. I think Jesse and Rick were a better match than Michonne and Rick. Maybe that's unpopular, but I believe Jesse had a great heart, and Rick kind of saving her from a domestic violence situation. You know what I mean? I think that was sick. I enjoyed that storyline a lot. How she was like being abused and stuff by her husband, and then Rick kind of saved her. And I think it was a great dynamic. I think Rick and Jesse had really great chemistry. I think she could have become this bad A character. You and me should be the writer for The Walking Dead. If I was a writer for The Walking Dead, The Walking Dead would have been a better show. I'm just being honest. I don't care what anybody says, bro. I write stories for fun. I can write really great characters, and I really can. I'm not just saying that. I can write great characters. And I promise you guys, if I was in charge of The Walking Dead all the way through, I would have made some questionable choices, some crazy decisions, but I think the show would have been better. I'm just being honest. Maybe that's just the ego in me talking. I don't care though. I believe it wholeheartedly. You and me should be writers for The Walking Dead. Early seasons, they had a hard time writing female characters. That's very true, Sage. Early season Walking Dead, they did struggle writing female characters, but I didn't mind it though, because it established the the true leaders of The Walking Dead, right? Which was always Rick, right? So I think it's fine. I think it played out fine, but I think it's kind of cool how they did a better job in the later seasons bringing in some decent female characters. But then again, did they really? I mean, Magna's annoying, Yumiko's annoying, Judith, was written well. I think Judith was written pretty well. Gracie doesn't count. She's like 4. Can't really talk crap about her. Um, Pamela Milton, just kind of bland, right? Are there any other female characters I'm forgetting that they brought in? Rosita was sick, man. They really sucks they killed Rosita. Rosita was such a freaking goated character in season 11, bro. Holy smokes, man. Rosita low key carried season 11, like hard. I can't even lie. Like Rosita was tough in season 11, bro. She was awesome. She was sick. We're going to play a game. You have to choose between the characters: Negan versus Daryl, Jesus versus Gabriel, Michonne versus Maggie. Um, what do you mean, like in a fight to the death, or like just who I like more? If we're going who I like more, I would say. I mean, I like Daryl more. I like I like Jesus more than Gabriel probably, and then I probably would take Michonne over Maggie. Although Maggie was like my Walking Dead crush when I was a kid, bro. If we're talking fist fights, I would take Daryl over Negan probably. I think Daryl would beat up Negan in a fight. I really do. I think Jesus would clean Gabriel's clock, and I think Michonne would beat Maggie in a fight. Maggie and Michonne would be a little closer, but I think Michonne would beat me. Actually, that may not even be that close. She had a good conclusion. Yeah, I mean she did. It was the end of the series, but bro, like seeing Rosita in a spinoff would be so gas though. It'd be so fun. Like that's something I would watch. I loved Rosita as a character. I'm really happy she lived all the way through. And like, man, she carried so hard, low key. Season 10, season 11, Rosita, elite character, S tier characters, bro. I don't care what anybody says. S tier. She was awesome. I had a feeling that she was gonna get killed by the Whisperers, though. I'm not gonna lie. But that's a good point too, Sage. Like even like just not even introducing female characters, but the way they wrote the female characters early on, they were never that likable. A lot of female characters were really unlikable in the early seasons of The Walking Dead, guys. It's just the truth, which I think is fine. I don't really mind it too much because it was still great. There were still some decent female characters. In my opinion, Dale should have lived longer till the end of season 9. I think that's pushing it. I think season 9's pushing it, but I think Dale. I think seeing Dale at the prison would have been sick, and I think it would have been. I think it would have been awesome to see Dale die at Terminus. I think that would have been. That would have been cool. Or dying in the governor fight at the prison or something like that. Something that makes sense. You could always see Dale kind of sacrificing himself for the group. Time for chores. Gotta go. I love what you do. See you soon for a big announcement. Hey, hopefully. If there's whatever announcements there are at SDCC, man, you guys already know I'm gonna make a lot of videos about it. So leading up to it, we'll see what happens. Hopefully there will be a really exciting announcement regarding Rick Grimes though, Sage. But I appreciate you for stopping by the stream, man. Don't forget to turn on those post notifications too if you don't have them on, so you'll be notified every time I post. He probably would have died in like season 7. Should we make a Discord server or not yet? I'll probably make one here soon. I'll probably make one soon, and I'll probably put it in the link tree. Fingers crossed. Absolutely, bro. Fingers are always going to stay crossed that we get some big news, man. This is the time. Like, here's the thing is, like, as fans, bro, we sit here and wait all year for San Diego Comic-Con because we know this is where the announcements are going to be, right? Especially at this point in time. Like, all eyes are on SDCC. So we sit here and we're like, hey, this is where it's going to happen if it's going to happen. So let's see what happens. I'm not saying for sure there's going to be a Rick announcement, but if there is going to be a Rick announcement, it's going to be SDCC. And we did get that tweet from Andrew Lincoln News earlier in the year saying Rick Grimes could appear in another Walking Dead spinoff. Does that mean show up in a spinoff that's already established, or does that mean his own show? I think it always meant his own show. I don't think Rick would show up on another spinoff. I think they're going to build around that character. Rick Grimes is too big of a character just to show up in Daryl Dixon or freaking Dead City or something, you know? I'll probably go get the Discord server started, actually, maybe today. Because I think we have enough people now to where, you know, even if we could just get like 15 to 20 people in there to start, you know, it'd be sick. I'm going to make it cool, too, where I'm going to, like, create little communities and stuff, like Alexandria, the Sanctuary. I'm going to do some cool stuff in there, bro. I'm a really creative guy, so I'm going to do some sick stuff. I'm gonna make like the rolls and stuff, like Alexandria, you know, the hilltop. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun thing. Pretty nerdy, but fun. But guys, I have officially been live for about 1 hour and 3 minutes, so I'm probably gonna cut this off here. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Had a lot of people come in here too, a lot of new people. So if you were new, hopefully you subscribed. Can I get the governor role or something? Yeah, I'm going to do some cool stuff with the Discord. It's going to take a little time to get up and rolling, but I'll probably start working on that actually right now. I might just go get that started. We'll see. But we're going to get it rolling. It's going to be fun. I'll put the link in the bio. We'll get that rolling so that everybody can just join up if they want. But yeah. I've been live for over 1 hour now, guys. It's been a fun stream. Fun chilling out with you guys. Had some new viewers, stuff like that. So I appreciate all the love and the support. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live stream. I don't know when I'm going live. I might go live again tonight. Who knows? We'll see what the vibes are. But I'm going to call it here, guys. So Gavin, Sage, everybody, I appreciate you guys for all stopping by. Morningstar, you guys have a good day. Yes, sir. Yeah, Gavin, for sure. Stay tuned, bro. Stay tuned for the link. I will see you guys later. Make sure you check out the new video. Drop a like, subscribe, share. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. I'm out of here. Peace out.